So, what began for you in mid September of last year was amplified under March's blood moon and is coming full circle for you right now. The Pisces eclipse is back, and with it, we have karmic lessons, ancestral healing, and a message right now from the council for your destiny. So, hello, everyone, and welcome in. I am the Awakened Jenn, and I'm a multidimensional channeler and the voice for the council of the Awakened Flame. What I do here isn't just prediction, it's activation. Every message from the council is designed to help you rise into your highest path, embody your sovereignty, and remember who you really are. If you've been searching for clarity and guidance, this isn't just another reading, it's a frequency. And if you're hearing my voice, this means that this transmission is meant for you. All right. So, the current energy snapshot for the week. We are in a moment of calling our power back. Some of us are discovering for the first time what that power actually feels like. And we're reclaiming the places where we've been leaking our energy and stepping into the wholeness of ourselves like never before. The council is highlighting angel number 122. The path is developing right under our feet right now, and 344, which is both protective and watchful. Yes, we are shielded by divine presence, but we are also being asked to stay mindful of the energies or intentions operating just outside of our awareness. And so, while yes, we are right now walking our new path that's building right underneath us, that 344 tells us that there may be some energies that are watching and they're not quite excited about the new path that you're taking. And so just be mindful of what might be going on around you. And like the biggest thing I think with that is be mindful of who you're sharing your new ideas and direction and insights with, because not everybody that's watching right now has the best intentions for the path that you're trying to go to. And this is part of the calling your power back that I was feeling. It's really learning like where you're leaking your energy, because that's the leaks that I'm feeling of the energy. It's like while you're building your new path and it is like in progress right now, we've still got like these spaces that are leaking the energy to the old that need to be patched up and at least keep an eye on so that they don't get worse. Okay, and so on to the astrology. We just had the lunar eclipse in Pisces, and this isn't just any eclipse, it's part of a larger story. Think back to September 17th of 2024, which was the last Pisces eclipse, and then again to March 14th of 2025, when we had a total lunar eclipse in Virgo, which was a blood moon. Those events were like chapters 1 and 2, and this week we're entering into chapter 3. Every thread is weaving together. Pisces governs karma, illusions, and ancestral lineage. And with Saturn also in retrograde in Pisces until February, this is about karmic lessons that are coming up for resolution once and for all. When Saturn leaves Pisces next February, it won't be back in Pisces again in our lifetime. So that makes this eclipse portal our final review in this classroom. So if you've been noticing patterns repeating or shadows resurfacing, it's not punishment, it's purification. The illusions are dissolving, the karmic debts are being balanced, and the ancestral chains are breaking. The council is saying, do not miss this moment. This eclipse portal is not a pause. This is the passage. So it's like there's nobody that's going to be missed in this. We're all going through it, and it's how you use it is going to determine where you end up on the other side of this. All right, so before we get too far into the energy of this week, I want to go ahead and do the invocation to call in the council. So if you'll close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths with me to help ground the energy into the space, and then we'll call in the council. So breathe in. That's 1. Breathe in. That's 2. Breathe in. That's 3. I now call in the council of the awakened flame, a collective of angels, archangels, ascended masters, our higher selves, and galactic star family to please enter this present space and time. I call upon Archangel Michael to place a bubble of protection around us. Only beings of the highest vibration of pure love and light may enter in. So be it. I surrender myself now as a clear channel to bring messages for the highest good of healing, ascension, alignment, and love. All right. So I'm going to pull from two different decks today, and I'm also going to do just some direct channeling as well. And so we're going to be using the Oracle of the Awakened Flame, which is my deck that is still, it's a prototype still, and you can find more information about this deck down in the description box. You can actually sign up to be notified as soon as this deck is ready, but there's also on my website, the part that I'm working on right now is channeling the guidebook. And so you can see each card as I'm channeling each card for the guidebook on my website. And that link to see that is down in the description box. So I'm going to use this deck, and then I'm going to also use the Wise Dog Tarot. I don't know why I was drawn to that today, but it's just a fun deck that I'm going to help pull some energy from. And then, like I said, I'm going to just do some direct channeling as well as we go through this. So our first card is the heart of the week. And so right at the center of the energy this week, we have, oh, wow. So we have the dark night, when the flame flickers, keep going. Angel number 000, root chakra, black. And so this is part of the path of transmutation. And so with this being the the center, the core energy this week is the dark night. And so dark nights are not easy. Dark nights are when you feel like you've been completely abandoned and forgotten and forsaken by everyone that you ever cared about. And so, like, the first thing I think about, even when I think about the dark night energy, is where, Jesus was on the cross and he said, he just cries out in the darkness, Father, why have you forsaken me? And at his core, he knew he wasn't forsaken. At his core, he knew why he was going the path that he was going. At his core, he understood everything, but the human of him, the human that had to experience everything of this, was feeling the fullness of the pain and the betrayal and everything that the human had to go through. And the human felt like this was way too much for this human to have to go through. Even if on the higher level they understood this is why I'm doing it, the human was crying out in that moment. And so you may have that energy right now is your biggest push. It's your biggest cry that something has to change, is, like that you feel like you've been just absolutely forgotten and forsaken. And it's just like, does nobody see me at all? Does nobody care about me at all? And that's the energy that's going to cause you to have to either stand up or give up. And so this is where we are standing up. Many people will give up. I mean, there are a lot of people who are being pushed right to their limits. But the people who are watching my transmissions, you're not those people. You're the ones that are on the higher path, and you do see the higher perspective, because that's the only way Jesus was able to get through that. Was he did absolutely understand the higher perspective, but his human self, like if you even remember the story of the Garden of Gethsemane, I mean, he was begging for there to be any other option than the one that he knew he had to take. Like, he knew the weight of his mission. He knew the steps that he had to take were so heavy. He was begging for any other option than that. But yet, on a soul level, he was committed and resolved. He knew that this is what he had to do, and this is exactly what he was going to do. But his human his human was struggling. And so that's something that I've really had to remember a lot lately is I can be, and especially anybody that's on this path of ascension, you can spiritualize a lot of things and you can forget about the human that is going through the experience. And so we're giving grace right now for the human that's going through the experience, but there's a reason why the human is going through the experience. And so like some of the people that like are going through this dark night, it is literally to wake you up to the need that things have to change, to the way that you've continued to leak your power out all over the place. And so while some people may just have little leaks of energy leaks of their power coming out, many are leaking it all over the place to where they feel completely powerless and hopeless and ready to give up all over. And so this is like, that's what we're trying to see. And if you can get yourself enough on that higher perspective to be able to see, that's the message that this dark night is teaching you, is where your power actually comes from. And that like you didn't need anything outside of you. You had everything you needed to go through the very worst and hardest, darkest nights of your days. You had that all within you. There was nobody that could even do it for you. You were the only one. So if you can survive that, you know that you have everything you need to survive anything else that might come at you because you've already done it. You've already proven it. And so now it's the time to just like take that and start demanding your energy back. Like this is the moment, like when you get to the point that you're just literally ready to give up and check out, like that's like you've given all of your power away. So now it's time, like literally, it's time to call it back in. And I mean, there's ways, there's cord cuttings. And even if you have to just dial it back to where you are completely by yourself and just restarting all over, that's better than the space that you're in to where you just want to completely check out. So I would rather be alone with myself, you know, and know that I have space to grow from there than to give anybody else my power again to make me think that I wasn't even worth being here and existing at all. This is a very heavy message. And I think that's because the energy really is that heavy. I do know a lot of people that are going through some very, very big, heavy things. Okay, so the next card I'm going to pull, I mean, the next question I'm going to pull with the tarot. So this is the cross of the moment. So this is where the tension really is the tightest. And so we have the Five of Pentacles. And so it's just feeling left out in the cold. And this, I mean, this is the need for real physical help. And so we think a lot of times that, you know, the help is being deprived or withheld from us, but it's not really the case. It's like the case is more of that you haven't asked, and because the ask is scary because you're afraid, what if people say no? Well, how many, like, you just keep asking. You might have to ask 100 people to get the first one, but there is somebody out there that once you ask, they, you know, they are willing to help. But it's like the first hurdle is the ask because we're so afraid that someone will say no. And it's just, there's ego involved in this. There's ego involved in this because it's like you don't want to have to be the one asking for help, because I think that, you know, for the majority of people, like we prefer to be the ones giving the help, offering the help, and you will have your turn. You know, this is like because you've been the one doing that to this point, now it's being given right back to you. It's being poured back into you. That's why it's like all of the love and all of the kindness and the generosity, all of that is out there. You've poured that out into the world and now it's ready to be poured back into you. But people have to know you need it, because if you were one of the people who were the ones who were the helper, you were the one who was always there to support everybody else, you were the one everybody else went to, they probably don't even know that you need the help. They see you as so completely capable. And I mean, this is something I've even seen in my own life. I mean, I have not been hiding that this year was extremely hard for me. I don't feel like I've hid that. But yet at the same time, it's not been all bad. And so I've shared, my good stuff too. And I've had a lot of really good stuff too. So, I mean, it's like that's life, that's life. It has the fullness of both. But because I guess people are always looking through their own perspective. Some people were looking into my life and they were only seeing the highlights of it. And there are, like I said, there are definitely some highlights that I get to be excited about. But because they only saw the highlights, they had this impression that my life was going way, way better than it actually felt like for the human that was going through it. And so they were almost in this I wouldn't say jealous, but it was just they were really like, you know, why do things work out for her and they don't work out for me? That is kind of, I don't think that they didn't want things to work out for me. They were just questioning, why did it look so easy for me? And it wasn't easy for me. That was the perspective that they were kind of looking through, is like, because they saw me as this person who was just completely capable and had it all together. And, like, I can put on a good front, right? They weren't seeing the behind the curtains. They weren't seeing all the nights that I was falling apart alone, and just how desperately I just felt like I was treading water for so many months, just trying to just get by, each day. And so I think that that might be a situation that you've kind of developed for yourself as well. It's like, you may be wondering why people aren't seeing that you even need help. Like, instead of you feeling like you need to ask, you think that it should be obvious that, well, don't they see, like how much I'm carrying and the load? They see you as capable. They see you as someone who can actually handle the load that was given to you. And you are capable and you can, but it would be a lot easier if you didn't have to. And that's what you're asking for, really. It's not that you're complaining that you have to carry the load, or that you're saying that you can't carry the load. It's just, if I don't have to. And that's, going back to Jesus's prayer in Gethsemane, if there's any other way, like, I know that this burden is big. I know I came here with a great big mission and purpose, but if I don't have to do it the hard way, I don't want to do it the hard way. And that's all we're asking. Um, and you have to be brave enough to ask. So, I mean, there's two parts of this energy that I'm feeling. There's real need for help. And I think you need to get it very clear to yourself too, that you do need outside support. That while as capable as you really are, you're going to burn yourself out in a way that you're not going to be able to recover from if you don't ask for help now before you get there. And you may already be at this place where it's just, and at that point there's a collapse coming, and you don't even get to choose what collapses at that point. At that point, it's just like, it's whatever topples over. Okay, so the next question um is the root. So this is the unseen influence, and here I'm just going to do a direct channeling for this. So what is the root cause for this dark night? All right, so I'm getting, okay, a few things. So I'm getting, one, the Page of Pentacles, and two, there's a leprechaun showing up. And so the Page of Pentacles, it's telling me that, what you think that you should know better. You think you should have known better. And this is a big energy that's been coming out too. And so I feel like that there must be some sort of betrayal or something that's happened. Some information has been exposed, and it's made you feel like you should have known better. You just should have known better. And so with the leprechaun, what I'm feeling is like, this is like, you just kind of let it fall in. Like, it's a luck energy. It's not something that you were intentional about. It's just something that sort of happened. It was just the luck. And maybe you feel like you just had bad luck. Maybe that's why that's showing up. But the biggest part is like, why you feel the level of betrayal that you're feeling right now, that's gotten you kind of questioning. It's the ego death of the dark night is always an ego death. You're relearning something about yourself. And so it is this idea that you should have known something before you knew it. But how do you know something before you know something? You don't. You don't know what you don't know. And sometimes you don't even know what you need to know. And this is one of those cases. You didn't know that you even needed to know that. You didn't know that you needed to be aware. And so that's like you're trying to figure out how could you have prevented that thing from happening. You're personalizing things that are not personal to you, and you're not just taking it for what it really was. It gave you information. There's a reason why you went through it. There's a reason why you didn't have the information before this happened. It's all part of the purpose. And the like trying to fight that it happened is not going to help the situation. At this point, we've got to just let it be. It happened. Now we have information with it. For whatever reason, we missed the signs, the clues, or maybe we didn't miss them, but we had hoped that, people would change, that they would see, like how it was impacting everything. But that's not what happened. Now we're sitting in the reality, we're sitting in the collapse, and we're sitting in the rebuild. So what are we going to do with it? We're going to allow ourselves the grace to be beginners. We're going to allow ourselves the grace to get things wrong, to not know everything, but to know that we can learn and grow from everything that comes into our experience. And so just take it for the lesson that it was. Even if you didn't want it to be a lesson, it is a lesson. And so let's take the lesson, learn it, integrate it, and grow from it. Okay, the next part is the higher light, and this is the guidance. And so I'm going to also do this as a channeled. So what is the higher light and the guidance that the council is bringing for us right now? So how can we really overcome this dark night energy that we're experiencing, and to pull back in, the pieces of our power and our soul that we've given away? All right. So I'm just getting okay, I'm getting the tower and I'm getting this construction, like this construction field. And it's like you've just got to let it fall and not be afraid of the rebuild, not be afraid to restart. I don't know why we get so hung up over like starting over can be really exciting. It gives you a chance to dream again, envision again. And so that's one of the things that even when relationships end, as devastating as it is to go through, the end of especially a romantic relationship, the heartbreak that comes from that. Do you know how exciting it is to have the opportunity to fall in love again? And what that feels like, what that energy starts it's like this new excitement. So when we're letting go of, a home, okay, we buy a new home and we get to dream again. We get to envision again. We get to, create new space. This is letting the life force energy flow again, because it got to a place where it was completely stagnant and it couldn't. It got just so boxed in the space that it was in that it couldn't continue to grow. And energy does not like to stagnate. And so when it stagnates, it starts just really becoming just volatile until it just an explosion or a collapse occurs. And so we're in the aftermath of the explosion or the collapse. And that's what's making us feel betrayed, because we were so connected and attached to what we had already created. And we weren't ready to, we didn't want to even bring in the new. We were too afraid to start over because we had all of our hopes and everything built on this. But now, we have no option. We have no option. And so don't be afraid of this rebuild energy. You're supposed to be excited because there's just complete expansion in front of you. All the opportunity is right in front of you to get this the way that you really want it to be. Because if you really looked at the thing that you have released, in order for it to get to the place where you feel the explosion or implosion that has happened, it wasn't what you wanted it to be. You have to admit the reality to yourself that it was already not working the way that you wanted it to work, no matter how attached you were to it. If you were still trying to shape it and mold it to be the thing you actually wanted, then let's let it go, because it's gone. and let's get and create the thing that we actually want now. Get excited about that, because now you actually have the opportunity again to get what you actually want. Whereas with this, you were either going to have to take something and try to force it to be it, which it wasn't. And that's not, I mean, you try to do that and it's not going to work. It's going to frustrate every part of that, because that's not how that was supposed to work. Or you learn the lesson, you let go, you make space, and you start dreaming again. Okay. Okay. So the next card, or the next question I'm pulling with the tarot. So this is the path ahead. And so this is just a little bit of a preview for what's coming in the near future for us. We have the star. And so with the star, you're, oh gosh, this is like up in the middle of the night, begging for a miracle, begging for mercy, begging for relief. And your prayers have been heard. Relief is coming, healing is coming. And it's just, you've got to go through this portal though to get there. And so when things leave through this portal, understand that like the stuff that's leaving, it is gone for good. And so like this is a very significant moment. You're going to need to walk through it every single day, day by day, and just know like I've got to walk the path. I cannot retreat. I've got to move forward through this. No matter what is leaving, no matter what I'm facing, I'm going to keep moving forward, and I'm going to get my way through this, because that's the way. All the things that I want are on the other side of all of this fear that I'm walking through right now, all of this uncertainty, all of this darkness, all of like, just, I mean, really, I'm continuing to come back to Jesus on the cross in that moment where he's crying out, why have you forsaken me? But yet he sat there and saw the whole thing through. You've got to see it through to get the miracle, the rebirth, the resurrection that you're actually looking for. Okay. The last card I'm pulling with the Oracle of the Awakened Flame. So it's a council message coming through. And this is the integration. So we have, wow, past life lover, a love that echoes through time. Angel number 1212, crown chakra, lavender, sacred contracts. So the integration is the past life lover. Okay, now this is not somebody coming back from the past. That is not what this card is telling us. And I sat there for a second and I'm like, what are we doing here, council? And that's not what we're doing with that. No, it is a reminder. So just really understanding that all of the connections that you are in, most of your relationships, your very closest relationships, are teachers and mirrors for you. And then we have some that are just like extreme mirrors, and they're, you know, typically these past life connections that we're coming to play out karma with. And so since we are in just this very like last little bit of that Saturn in Pisces, working through those karmic lessons and the ancestral karmic lessons, this is where like I feel like this energy is coming in. This is the past life energy that's coming in. And so you've had a past life lover, a love connection that is greatly impacted the healing work that you've been doing right now. And so like that's the karma that you're working through. And I feel like you know exactly which one it like, because I think even when I was talking about the Dark Knight and the betrayal, you knew exactly where this connected to. You knew exactly the energy that this was connected to. Now it's not necessarily that this person had bad intentions for you. It's just that there was karma that needed to be played out here, karma that needed to be cleared here. And so the integration that we're looking at through all of this is, okay, when you look at that connection now, what did you learn from it? What did you learn about yourself? Not what did you learn about them? What did you learn about yourself from that connection? What type of person are you most aligned with? What type of conflict resolution? What type of financial setup? What type of just like household distribution? Like when you really start thinking about like, how did all of that work? What did I learn about myself? How do I show up? Am I critical? Am I encouraging? Am I, spontaneous, or am I, like rigid? I mean, just like relationships give you the opportunity to really see yourself through somebody else's eyes and see the impact that you're making that is outside of like your own awareness. And so when they start reflecting back to you, like all of these, like, oh, wow, you chew really loudly when you eat, and you didn't even know that about yourself. Or did you know that like you constantly sit here and sway? No, I didn't know that about myself. It's like when they're just in there, like, because they are witnessing you. And in the witnessing, they will start reflecting it back to you. And it's like you can use what they're reflecting to you to either like strengthen you, or it could help you to work on yourself and improve you. But what we've got to be careful about is sometimes we're not getting reflections, we're getting projections. And so, the projection, a projection when you feel it because it doesn't resonate with you at all. When they say, like, you are a lying, two-timing, whatever, and you're just like, what? That doesn't even make sense. And so it's like it hits you in this like, whereas when they say something that is true, like, if you told a lie, if they point on it, like, ooh, it's a different resonance. So it's like, a projection when when you feel it, because it just it's not true about yourself. But yet we get into these situations where we try to argue and prove it instead of just like, oh, that's a projection, that's a you thing. And until we can like separate ourselves from that, we start taking it in, owning it as part of our identity. Well, that's part of the removing of your power, because that's what they were trying to do with the projection, is to like control your perspective, control the perspective, just to control it, control you. So the integration here is to look at those past love connections and see, how did you show up in those connections? What did you learn from that? Not what did you learn about them? What did you learn about yourself? How did you grow? How did you change? What is still needing to be worked on? What is the reflection that you have been given about yourself in every connection over time? What would every single one of your exes say about you? And it's just like, oh, that might be a little bit true. Or, what is something that they would say about you that you're absolutely proud of? I mean, so you can see lots of things in the reflections of others, but that's what we're seeing. That's what we're using the energy. That's how we get the integration, is we're seeing them as they are teachers, and they are reflections that are showing us parts that we like about ourselves and parts that we don't like about ourselves. Okay. All right. So that was a lot. Like I said, it feels like the energy is heavy, and it's going to take intentional step by step right now to keep even wanting to move forward. And this doesn't feel like this, resolves in a week. This feels like this is a heavy, because it doesn't feel like this just hit you in a week. It feels like this is a heaviness that's been building over time. And finally, like I said, we've been in this energy of the collapse of it. And that's the dark night that we're walking through. We're still walking through, the aftermath of the collapse. And we're wondering, like, when does like that piece get better? And I think this is the part, because we're so desperate for help, but we're not actually asking for the help. And that's the piece that we're needing to really own right now, is that we need to ask for the help that we're needing, and know that you ask the right person, you position yourself in the right place, it will come. You will get the help that you need. Okay. So I want to close this transmission with a frequency gift from the council. So some of you know that I do light language. And so I want to just close these out with just some light language. And I want to just be just where this is coming from. So when I was first developing all of my intuitive gifts, the way that I did that was I would have quiet time in my bathroom at 3 a.m. every night. And so I would just set the mood with candlelight and worship music, and I would get myself just in this higher vibrational state, and then I would pray just directly the things that, were the concerns of my heart. And then after that, I would pray in tongues, which is the light language that I'm talking about here. And that's really just, it's moving over and just allowing the soul to speak, just soul language coming through. And so this isn't something that you're meant to understand with your mind. That's the beauty of it. It's a frequency that's meant to be felt. You don't understand the words, you just let them wash over you. They're designed to attune your energy to the highest possible timeline. And so, like, that's just, it was always such an important part of my daily ritual, daily practice, that I feel like that it's probably important to start bringing it out again here. But like with that understanding, it's not meant to be understood, it's meant to be received, it's meant to be felt. And I mean, you might get, just all kinds of sensations, but it's meant to be a vibrational alignment tool to go with the message that's come through. So with that, I'm going to just lead in and leave us with this frequency gift from the council. So what messages want to come through? Ekemanate leche kemanate amata afamanate lematika. Let it commanded to the tiki kemanata lamenti for let it to the karate take. Imediti cheaper la cananate le betitica la ti timanate la te. For la limiti le lede cana te telemanati te cala petita la meditata ke miniti di canamanate la becha le meditati camanati. Okay. Let that activation integrate into your body, your heart, and your spirit. It will continue to work in the days ahead. Just let it sink in. So if this message has resonated with you, remember, you can always go deeper with me with booking a private session, and that information is down in the description box below. And make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so that you don't miss out on any future transmissions. Check the links below for any upcoming lives, special portal events, or any ways to walk with me on this journey. One thing that I do have coming up is I'm doing the Embodied Flame Temple every other week with Hope. And so that is a time that the divine feminines can come together. We've got a powerful message for ascension. This week is the 9/9 portal. So, I mean, that's really big energy that's coming through. And we pull cards for the viewers with that. So it's a great opportunity to connect with other people on the journey with you and grow in your ascension path. So definitely check that out. And then I have been adding new things. I'm rebranding the whole channel, revamping the whole channel, and you'll start seeing some new stuff coming through. And so you won't want to miss. Hit subscribe, hit the bell. You'll be notified every time. So until next time, just remember, you are not walking this path alone. We have a whole council that is walking with us. All right, you guys have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.